What's happening, everyone? As you can see, I am here with the one and only Don Robbie ahead of Chelsea's huge clash against Arsenal this weekend. I've obviously been speaking a lot about Arsenal. Over the years, Robbie, I've been fairly snide about Arteta, fairly snide about the club. But this year, I've been full of praise. How good is it? How good are you feeling at the moment?
I'm feeling very good, man. Very good. You know what I mean? It's the first time... You know, Rory, actually, if I sort of go back, before the season started, I went to America pre-season and I was watching Arsenal play. And I've been to a lot of pre-seasons over the years, right? And you just see players just playing and they look okay, and you know what I mean? But when I watched Arsenal in pre-season, I was like, hey, you know what? They look different this season. They look sharp, they look hungry. They look so much fitter than every team we played. I remember we played Chelsea, I think we beat them about 4-0. And I was like, I don't want to get carried away or nothing because it's only a friendly, but I was like, we just look so much sharper and fitter and stronger than Chelsea in this pre-season game. And I was like, I remember I turned around to the guys and I go, I think we're going to have a good season, you know, because this team is cohesive. They're really, really playing well. So when the season started and we got off to a really good start, it didn't really surprise me. Obviously, I wasn't as expecting as great a start as what we've made now, but it didn't surprise me the start we got off to because I was just like, we looked ready at the start of the season. So I've been so impressed with it and it's been so good, you know what I mean, to just watch our team week in, week out, take it to teams, you know what I mean? Like, over the years, I've seen so many times Arsenal playing, it's almost like we only play 45 minutes. We start slowly, we get bogged down, and then we have to try and come up with a bit of magic. But what I've seen with the Arsenal team this season is like, as soon as that whistle goes, we're on it. Yeah. And it's been a joy to watch.
There's something going on at the moment, isn't there, at Arsenal? Like, it does feel like the vibe is different. I think the stadium is louder than perhaps it's ever been. Certainly the best it's been for say 10 years. I think this is probably the best Arsenal team that you've seen for 10 years, maybe even longer, maybe even more like 15 years.
It's the best Arsenal team I've seen so far, I feel, probably at the Emirates. You know what I mean? I know we've had loads of superstar players, but as a team, I'm looking at this as a cohesive team. When we got our best starting 11 out, it's a very exciting team to watch, you know what I mean? And a very cohesive team. They all seem to know what each other are doing, all fighting for each other. And it's been, I really put a lot of it down to the addition of Jesus. I think this guy has really, two players, Jesus and Saliba at the back. Those two players have really transformed.
I agree.
Really transformed Arsenal.
Do you know what, Rob? When you signed Gabriel Jesus, and when it was looking like you were going to sign Gabriel Jesus, on this channel, I put a plea out because the rumour was spreading that you were going to get him, and I put a plea on this channel, effectively an open letter to the Chelsea board. I was like, please hijack this deal. He's obviously a top-class player.
I think you did try and hijack it as well.
I think we did, but too late and half-hearted. Like, I think if we'd really gone for it, you know, we could offer us a similar package, but we had Champions League football. I think maybe there was a world in which we could have got it over the line, or at least whether we could or couldn't isn't the point. The point is, try and get this bloke. He's obviously class. He's proven in this league. He presses relentlessly, and he was obviously going to have a massive impact on Arsenal. But the recruitment, you know, with Arteta over the years, I've been fairly harsh. Over the years, there was a game where you played Burnley between Christmas and New Year, I think, and I just said, like, he has to be sacked. You lost 1-0 at home to Burnley, and I said, that's it. It's over. This project, this belief in a project, I said, it's done. But do you know where he's impressed me so much? Partly his conduct, but the recruitment. He's bought excellently, hasn't he?
Yeah, the recruitment, him and Edu, you know, together, they've brought in some great players. Jesus, no Champions League football. For us to manage to get that over the line, 45 million as well, which looks like an absolute steal now. And he's energetic, he scores goals. I know he hasn't scored for a few weeks, but he scores goals. But he leads that press. He leads everything. He's just like the catalyst to Arsenal. You know what I mean? It's infectious. So Saka presses on the other side, and so does Martinelli.
Your front four, it's almost a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, and I was looking... one significant thing, I saw an article the other day where a guy was talking about the dribbling stats at Arsenal. So Arsenal this season, #1 for dribbling. when in that front three of Saka,
Martinelli loves a
and
dribble,
Jesus, they're always taking on players, they're always running at them, they're always dribbling, right? They're number one. Last season we were 17th out of 20 teams. So that attacking front three, they just pick the ball up and they drive at players. So what it does, it takes players out of position because, you know, if Saka's on the ball, you've got to send at least 2 players over to try and handle him.
It creates space for someone else.
So it creates space for others. If Jesus gets it, you've got to send 2 to him. If Martinelli gets it, you've got to send 2 to him. So they're always creating spaces for other players. And in a lot of games, they're creating spaces for Xhaka. Who's getting forward now and getting into the box, and he's been scoring goals. Or Odegaard is scoring goals. Or Partey has scored a couple of goals from outside the box. We never scored no goals from outside the box. You know what I mean? So it's been an absolute joy to watch. You know, going forward. And then at the back now, Saliba coming back. This guy, I know that saying he's like a new signing. He is.
No, he's very good.
Number one, we'd signed him, but we'd never ever seen him play. Not even one. I think he played one friendly against MK Dons. And that was it. And then he's just been on loan all the time. And he's come back and he's been superb. He's solid. He's a big guy. He's quick. He reads the game so good. So he's been brilliant. He struck up a great partnership with Gabriel. Then Ben White's been brilliant at right back. At left back, we've got options. It could be Tierney. It could be Zinchenko, Tomiyasu. The back line, and then with Thomas Partey in front of them, the back line is solid.
So something doesn't make sense to me now. This is everything that you've said there. You've waxed lyrical about your front. You're telling me Partey and Xhaka are top class, and then your back line. And I agree with every word, by the way. This is what doesn't make sense. For a long time now, I've been saying that Arsenal are capable of winning the league. And I can see a world, in fact, where Arsenal will win the league. If I say that on this channel, the vast majority of the comments are Arsenal fans telling me I'm wrong. Yeah, and it makes no sense to me. The
same on my channel as well. But I think the thing is, right, is that Man City are such a force. Right?
Yeah, okay.
It's their squad. Their squad is so good, right? And I think with Arsenal, we've got depth in some areas. I think defensively we've got some good depth now. You know what I mean? If Tomiyasu's out, Ben White's there. You know what I mean? You're on the left-hand side. It used to be like last season, if there's no Tierney, you know what I mean, you just pray.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas now, you know what I mean, you could put Tomiyasu in there, Zinchenko.
Yeah.
You know, there's more strength in depth at the back. If one of the centre-backs is out, Tomiyasu could drop in as a replacement centre-back, and you've got Rob Holding.
Okay, so now you're telling me about depth. So why is there such a lack of belief?
Up front now, there's a bit of lack of depth, I feel. If Jesus is out, the player,
Nketiah.
Eddie Nketiah will come in. He's nowhere near the same quality. Listen, he's done well. I remember him scoring those couple of goals at Chelsea last year. He can have his moments, right, but he's not at the same. Yeah. You know, even he would admit he's not at the same quality as Jesus. You know, I think if we could get a bit more strength in depth, we can challenge Manchester City. But at the moment, I think the reason why all those Arsenal fans will say to you, nah, it's because we all recognise that
City are a juggernaut.
Yeah, basically. And it takes us to go a season with some of those key players not being injured. And we saw last season, you know, I was in a video the other day with Expressions, you know, a Tottenham fan. He was saying to me about, this player's injured and that, but they've got some games coming up. He's telling me about the injuries. I had to remind him that when we played Tottenham in that sort of crunch game last year, the amount of key players we had missing, like Thomas Partey, and those guys were out. You know what I mean? So, can we go a whole season? Some injuries are going to come to some of those key players, with them being out and still sustain a title challenge. I don't know. It would take. I think it would take, like we've seen Liverpool over the years where they've literally up until that season when Van Dijk was out for a while. They had a couple of seasons where literally all their main players were just fit every week. Salah never got injured. You know, Van Dijk was never injured. The key guys were just fit and going full pelt all season. If we could get that, maybe, but at the moment, and I still think as well, when it comes with the Arsenal team, even though we've passed some tests so far, you know, where, you know, we beat Tottenham, we beat
You beat everybody.
We've beaten Liverpool. We haven't beaten City yet, and also we're still yet to go to places like Anfield.
Yeah.
We haven't been yet to the Etihad. We're going to Stamford Bridge That's a big test. We went to United, we played well, but we lost. You know what I mean? And those tests still need to be overcome. And also, this is a team that's not been in those big end of season fights. Like even with you guys, Chelsea, you've had over the years where, you're coming down to the wire. You're in them, someone who's,
that heritage counts, doesn't it? The knowledge and know-how counts.
So you get to them last 10 games of the season, for instance, where you're in with a shout of winning the league, but you're going to have to go away and take points at White Hart Lane, for instance. We have not seen yet if this Arsenal team would be capable of doing that. Those are all, whereas with City, over the years we've seen them do that. They've gone to Old Trafford needing a 3 points perhaps. They get it. They've come to Stamford Bridge. They have to win that game to sustain the challenge.
And De Bruyne pings one in or whatever.
Exactly, and that's where for me the doubt is still.
So what's the expectation now then? Like expectations change, right? Throughout the season,
expectations
change. So at the beginning of the season, you would have said, maybe you would have said top 4 would be great.
I think that's still the expectation. It's top 4.
No, Rob, we're a third of the way. We're over a third of the way through the season, and you're top of the league.
Now, so my expectation is that I want to see Arsenal put a challenge in to win the league. Right? We've got a chance of winning it. We're in a great position. It's our best start to a Premier League season ever. Arsenal should go for it. Right? I know publicly Mikel Arteta and everybody will play it down, and they should.
That's fine.
Right? They should, but privately they should be saying, "Nah, you know what? We could actually do this. We've got to go for it." That means strengthening in January. That means going for it. And if you go for it and you miss out, you've still got top 4. That's how I look on it. So the expectation should be, but I don't think you're going to get neither me or any Arsenal fan out in public say, yeah. I mean, because we know it's still a long way to go.
What about other silverware? Have you got any expectation on other silverware? Like Arsenal are a club that historically, the European pedigree isn't quite good enough for the size of club. Are you looking at that Europa League, taking it seriously?
Yeah, of course. I think we've got to take the Europa League seriously, and but for me, if we are still in similar positions to what we are now,
top of the league,
next year. By say March and that we're in and around it, the priority has to be the league. Right. I would even sacrifice the Europa League for that. To me, the most important thing, Arsenal getting back into that position where we're challenging. That's what every Arsenal fan wants to see us. Right. Challenging for the league. We haven't done that for 15 to 20 years. It's been way too, for a club of our size.
Yeah, I agree.
With a fan base and that. It's been really, really barren when it comes to the league. You know what I mean? Normally, we get to Christmas, we're not even in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, to be even more severe and harsh on you, you're not really in the conversation. There've been periods where you weren't even in the conversation pre-season.
We're not in the pre-season comes. We're not even in the conversation for even top 4.
Yeah.
People are not even talking about us even getting the top 4. I think we've got to. That's why it's important that this year we put in a challenge, see how far it can take us. At worst, hopefully, can get us back into the Champions League. I think that would be significant for Arsenal when it comes to buying players.
Yeah.
I think we've done very well with the fact that we're not in the Champions League and we've been able to pull off bringing in players like Jesus, and Zinchenko and these sort of players. But I think what a lot of people don't realise and what is so significant about getting into the Champions League is about keeping hold of your top players as well. Yeah. So if you've got a player like Saka,
he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere anyway, but he's not going anywhere.
He's come through the ranks and he loves Arsenal to death. But if Arsenal go 3-4 years and a couple of years and they're not in the Champions League, even a player like that will be tempted away because our club's going to come along and say, well, you're too good to be playing Europa League football season.
So cards on the table. Cards on the table. Would you win this year? I can't believe you haven't just said the league to me.
The league, man.
Yes. Here we go.
You're setting me up for these videos, man.
No, but I think you have. But football is about that.
But it is about
even if it's irrational, even if you're wrong. That is
the league.
Football.
Do you know you say that right about irrational? I'll never forget when Leicester won the league, and I think we shouldn't even be putting that supreme underdogs like that. But when Leicester won the league, right, I never forget there was a fan famously who came on one Christmas on the radio and started saying to the guys who were presenting the show that, you know what, I feel this is our year. I feel that we can, and they were going, what are you talking about? And he goes, no, this is it. I've got that feeling.
Good for him.
Right? And so,
but football is that. Football is blind loyalty, isn't it? That's what we're all living.
We got to back this team because this is a very, very good team. I'm going into games now. I'll tell you the truth. Over the past couple of years, when we go to play Chelsea, for instance, or certain teams, I'm going in it. My chest is out, but a lot of that is pride. A lot of that is, my heart. It's all my heart saying that, if and I'm going. Normally, I'll be going. We go to Stamford Bridge, and I'm thinking to myself, if this one has an off day, he has an off day, I have an off day, and we're on top of it, we got a chance.
Yeah.
Against Chelsea.
Whereas now you're going into the game probably as favourites.
I'm going into the game now and I'm saying, if Arsenal turn up and Chelsea turn up, we should win the game. Because I feel at this moment in time, we're a better side.
And that is the expectation that's come with the excellent management.
And that's because at the moment we've got a very good team. So it's about us going to these clubs and really playing to our best. And if we do that, we beat most teams.
I agree.
We beat most teams. So that's a great feeling, man. I ain't had those feelings for a long time.
It's reciprocal. This is the most scared I've ever been going into an Arsenal game. I take the draw now, which I would never say. I take the draw now.
Nobody used to say to me, we'd be going to minnows.
I take the draw now.
We'd be going to, teams down at the bottom.
Yeah, and they want to win.
And I'll be talking to them, before the game, and I'll see some of their fans, and they'll be like,
we fancy it today.
Yeah, fancy it, Robbie, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Fancy it,
it's changed. He's done a very good job.
See you lot, mate. Fancy it. So they're not saying that at the moment, which is a good thing.
Totally. Robbie, thank you so much for coming on the channel, mate. I really do.
Pleasure,
really
bro.
appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please comment below. Let us know, where do you think Arsenal will finish this season and what do you think they will win? As always, a huge thank you to Robbie from AFTV. His link is in the description below. See you all in a bit.